Jason here from Experiences in Channeling, and I'm here to talk about some interesting stuff and channel a bit. So hello everyone, nice to meet you, nice to see you again. So the title of this video is Sin, Automats, and Tartaria. And those are the three things I wanted to talk about. I'll start backwards. So first of all, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had a private channeling on Tartaria. It wasn't private; it was open to the public, but it was about a two or so hour channeling where we got together and people just brought their questions about Tartaria. And if you're interested in it, you could the recording. You can download the recording. You can buy the recording down below. Under offerings on my website if you look behind me. But anyway, so I was listening back to it again today, and there's a lot of stuff that I missed when we were going through it. There was a lot of really good information that came through, and a lot of great insights as well from the people who were involved. Thank you guys for that. And so one of the insights, one of the things that came up was, and I think this is something that when people talk about Tartaria, they don't really often touch on this, but so I've been channeling a few beings that were alive during the Tartaria time, and what came through the channeling, the most interesting part for me was that so Tartaria was a civilization that was attempting to reach a higher dimensional living within a still third dimensional kind of world. And so they pretty much closed their civilization off from the rest of the world, and they focused, everything was focused in their civilization on high frequency. So whatever it is that they could do, so with food and with clothing, everything was an attempt to keep their frequency high. But what their downfall was that they were attempting to come into separation and then separate themselves once more. So they were separating themselves from the rest of humanity, and that's what actually became their downfall. Because they were trying to do this, they weren't sharing it with the rest of the world. They were trying to protect this frequency that they had. But that's what brought them down, because they got too caught up with this frequency, not realizing that they were still living within a third dimensional reality. And so that was, I just wanted to bring that up as another aspect of this, because we tend to think of the Tartarians as perfect society and everything was wonderful, and some people even talk about it like it was the millennial realm. And from that channeling, I kind of questioned that. And so this is just from my channeling. So take it or leave it. Take it with a grain of salt. I am only human, and all of these messages are filtered through my human body, my human mind. And so, but for me, I think there was a bit of a perfection that they went to a high degree of perfection, and that was the downfall, and that was what was given to me. So I wanted to share that. The other thing I wanted to share is automats. So an automat is first one I think was developed, I think they have it here, 1895, the world's first automat. It's a fast food restaurant where food and drink are served through a vending machine, typically without wait staff. And so, 1895, they're saying that was when it first came out in Berlin, of all places, which is very interesting. This is a little bit before the Weimar. This is the Weimar era, so that's also quite interesting. If you look into the Weimar era of before World War II in Germany, it's quite a shocking place. There were a lot of things that we're not taught about in our history books. It was like the height of depravity, that place. But anyway, I thought this is interesting, the automat. And the reason I'm bringing up the automat is, like, when I was a kid, I used to play Atari, so showing my age. But when I was in the 80s, there was one game I used to love, and it was called Automat. And you would I forget what you had to do, but it was just one of those grid games. And there were all of these automats, and you had to go around, and you had a mission to do. But I just found it to be really romantic for some reason. Like, wow, an automat, what is that? I've never seen one before. And I think at that time, back in the 80s, there probably were still a few of them left over, but they're gone now, for as far as I know. But so, okay, so 1895, and they're creating this, like, look at this thing. Here's a picture of it. Here, let me open it up in a new tab. Okay, look at this thing. This is the vending machine. Look how ornate this thing is. My goodness, look at the handles. It's like, looks like it's made out of brass. How beautiful is that? Look how much time they spent in creating these automats, right? Here's some more pictures of them. This one's a more kind of recent one. This is from the 50s, I imagine. You'll notice the difference, right? The 50s from the 1800s. What happened? Why? How are they so advanced back in the 1800s, and then the 1950s they just came like this? Just interesting questions for me. Um, this one, Edward Hopper, the famous painting, Edward Hopper. Um, Edward Hopper paints really lonely paintings. I like the feeling, but they can really bring you down sometimes. But yeah, here she is in an automat, and this is just some machine. I don't know what that is. But yeah, so interesting stuff. Here's a famous automat called Horn and Hard Hat. I think that's more 1950s. So all I'm trying to say, oh, and then I just want to share one other thing. This is from Atlas Obscura. They're saying this was written in 2017, and they're saying that the reason that the automats came about was because American people didn't like waiters, right? Okay, so yeah, if you believe that, I have some real estate to sell you. No, so sorry. So here it is. People in the late 1800s really didn't like waiters, right? They were still a novelty. They sprung up with the rise of the restaurant earlier that century. Right, right, okay. So there were no restaurants before that time, right? So Americans just never went out to eat in all of their history. It was just now. Waiters are a new thing. They just came over from Europe, and people just didn't like them. And so they decided to create these automats. It's like, come on, the lengths that people go to explain away history. So why not we look at another possibility that there was another civilization that was quite advanced? Because this is not what we think of from 1896, right? This is what how many years after the Civil War? Look at this, amazing stuff here. So of course this is Germany, but they were in America as well. So yeah, there you go. Interesting stuff. But for me, I mean, there's that history, but there's also, for me, there's just something really romantic about them. I don't know what it is. There's just something about them I really love, and I just wanted to share that. So okay, automats. And then the last thing I wanted to share. Oh, here's also Dark City. I don't know if you've seen that movie, Dark City. That's another favorite of mine. I do recommend that one. There was an automat in that movie as well, which to me is kind of a hint. Um, Dark City is very interesting. It's kind of like a Matrix before the Matrix. But yeah, definitely check it out. I don't want to spoil it for you. But more pictures of automats. And okay, so the last thing. Oh wait, hold on. Let me close these things here. My automats. Yeah, the last thing I wanted to talk about was sin. um, so, and the reason I wanted to talk about was just a realization for me about sin. Um, so, I grew up. I went to a Catholic school in high school. I wasn't Catholic. My family wasn't Catholic. We were actually Lutheran. I actually grew up with a whole bunch of. I think I was Baptist for a while, and all kinds of Greek Orthodox and everything, Lutheran. So yeah, went through a whole bunch of different religions. Not me myself, but family wise. But I just wanted to share this about sin. So hold on one second. I'll be right back. Hold on. Please hold the phone. Okay. Yeah. Hold the phone. I'll be right back. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. How do I hold the phone? Okay. Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. False alarm. So yeah, so what I wanted to talk about was sin. Sin is the name of the moon god, and I had heard this before, and I thought that was really shocking the first time I heard it, and I didn't quite understand it. I thought, what? What's going on? Sin. What? What? How does that? How did that happen? Right? Okay. So here's Sin. Sin is also named Nana, Sumerian god who was the son of Enlil and Ninlil. And yeah, so okay, so there you go, Nana. Nana was, let's see, dedicated to him. Dun, 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 Nana. His name was also named Sin or Su-en in Babylon and Assyria. So okay, so all right, so that's interesting. And there's a few parts to this. First of all, that we all know that Enlil, right, is an alien, right? So yeah, how did I want to get into this? Hey, Michael. Hello, my fellow sinners. So yeah, so just talking about sin here. And so the reason I wanted to talk about this was, okay, from two different perspectives. So the alien, we'll put the alien thing away. You put that in a box somewhere. But first start out with, okay, so Akhenaten, the Egyptian pharaoh, the religion of ancient Egypt was the Amen religion. The Amen that we often say, that the Catholics say, Amen, or I think it's just a Christian thing, right? Amen. And every time you say Amen, it's related to the Egyptian Amen Brotherhood, which is very interesting. So, but the Amen religion was, it was a religion of many different gods. There were many different gods, and it's very similar to the Catholic religion now, where you can pay, if you pay a certain amount of money, then you can get to a different level of heaven, and and so. But anyway, so it's kind of different. Sorry, lots of distractions today. But so yeah, so it's get my head back. Hold on a second. Okay, yeah. So that was the religion at the time, and Amenhotep, he would put his name Amen into his name, and because that shows that he was part of that religion, the Amen religion. But Amenhotep had a bit of a revelation, and he realized that this is not the way that we need to worship one God, and he would call that God Aton, the sun god. And so he changed his name to Akhenaton, and he destroyed a lot of the Amen temples, and he took away all of their businesses. And so the Amen Brotherhood were really pissed off, and so they ended up poisoning him in the end. But and then there's Moses, right? Moses grew up with the pharaohs. He was raised by the pharaohs, and he brought the Israelites out, and he brought them this religion as well, the Aton religion. So it's kind of that sort of thing. But so okay, so and then it's a sun god, right? And I'm not sure if you guys heard this before, but so Jesus, right? He's the Son of God. He's the Son God, Son of God. And so this idea of this one religion, the one God religion, the Sun religion, similar to the Japanese Shinto, is also started as a sun, Ame Terasu. She's the sun god. And so anyway, so it's just what was interesting for me was that it's the sun god. So of course the opposite of the sun is the moon, and so the moon god's name is Sin. So sin is bad. So I just thought that was very interesting, this concept. And so first I wanted to bring it up in that way, and also I wanted to bring it up in the way of yin and yang, this playing out of these two different types of religions that are fighting against each other. And we as humans, we have to choose which side we're on, right? And but realizing that that's a ruse. It's all a ruse. We don't have to choose which side we're on. We can choose the middle path. We can just see them both happening, and it's great. But we're choosing the middle path. And so I wanted to share that as well. So yeah, and the other part about the sin thing is the alien idea. So this, religion, right? This ancient Sumerian religion is based. So Enlil. So this is based on Jalila Starr's work. If you're interested, please check that out. She has a really interesting history, galactic history. And this was the Anunnaki, right? The story of the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki came down, and the official like story that everyone's told, right? So they came down, they're looking for gold, and they were trying to make gold here, but they were aging too quickly because of everything, and so they decided to enlist the humans, and they kind of created humans, kind of thing. And but so. But now, for example, in Babylon, there's a lot of people that are still kind of in this kind of dark stuff, right? And sin, right? And but it's actually, it's just all. I think I'm going too far. Yeah. So let's just put it there. I just wanted to share that the sin, and it's the moon and the sun, and the dichotomy of the moon and the sun, and it's very similar to this yin and yang. So yeah, that's all I wanted to do. Share that. I think I went a little too far with it, so I won't go any further with that. Yeah. So now I'd like to go into a channeling, and this channeling, I'd like, so about the sin stuff. I think that's pretty clear. But I'd like to go in a little bit about the automatons, automats, and if they have any information about the automats. Yeah. So here we go. Hold on, let me stop sharing. Okay, yep. So just a quick channeling just on what is, where did these come from, and what is this? Yeah, here we go. Greetings, we're here. You can call us Genevieve if you'd like. Yes, this is a wonderful question. Your automats, the reason that this being, and many of you will find a sense of romance, a romantic feeling about this. We don't mean love romance, but romantic feeling this is something interesting about that. And the reason that you're feeling that is because this is related to your history. This is a hint of a time in history that you have all experienced, a time that you've all been in. And these automats, similar to, you might say, the pyramids and many of things on your planet, are remnants of another time. And they were remnants of another time, and they were slowly phased out. There was an attempt to meld them into your culture and then to phase them out. And that's what happened. But there is a spark to them, to spark of the remnant of another time, of another civilization, of a more advanced time. And that is what they are. But they are a simulacrum of that advanced time. They are just an imitation, in the sense that the technology is not there. It is an imitation of the technology, because the technology was taken out of them and was used for different purposes. And so this is what we would say is the automats are. Okay. Yeah, so short one today. More just heavy on the talk, light on the channeling. But I just wanted to share, I wanted to share about the Tartarian thing, because I thought that was very interesting and very important for all of us, because that's something that we need to learn as well. That for this ascension thing, it's like we're all in this together. We're all in it together. It's not like, oh, this person's more advanced and this, I'm gonna go to the fifth dimension. It's we're all in it together. And the more that we share, the more that we try to keep it open, and the more that we try to love others, the better it is for you and for everyone else. And I think that was the main message that they were talking about. And the automaton was just a little something that was interesting, like to look into that more. And yeah. So anyway, so Michael, you can say I get it. Thanks. Thank you. It's a little scatterbrained today. Sorry about that. And I hope you guys are all hopeful, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow, and go beach. All right. Ciao.